So start this practice by just noticing your connection to the ground. Literally notice what the ground feels like underneath you, or maybe what you're sitting on. If your feet are touching the floor, go ahead and press down into them gently. Just notice that feedback. If you're sitting on something, maybe see if you can allow the full weight of your body to really rest on whatever it is you're sitting on. Really allow it to support you. Now take a moment to draw your attention to your breath. Notice where you feel your body expanding when you inhale, and where you feel it contracting when you exhale. Usually, you can feel your breath mostly in one of three places. So notice if you feel it more in the upper torso, maybe more toward the sternum or even the shoulders, around the shoulder blades. Maybe you feel it more around your rib cage or just under the rib cage. Or maybe you feel it in your abdomen, maybe even down into the low abdomen. So just get curious about where you feel the majority of that expansion when you breathe in deeply. Continue breathing normally if this feels comfortable to you, just noticing your breath, noticing what it feels like in your body and where you feel it. You have the option to stay here with natural breathing, or if you'd like to, maybe try sending the breath all the way down into the lower abdomen, filling up there first, then into the rib cage, then into the upper torso, maybe around the sternum, the shoulders, and then slowly exhale from the sternum, then the rib cage, then the abdomen. If that feels comfortable to you, feel free to take a couple of breaths like that. If it doesn't feel comfortable, go back to natural breathing. Option to stay where you're at, either natural breathing or 3-point belly breathing is what we just did. Or you might try, after you fill all the way up to the sternum, pausing for a hold at the top of your inhale, and then slowly making your exhale longer than your inhale. If that feels comfortable to you, take a few breaths like that. And now return to natural breathing. Just noticing again where you feel your breath, in the upper part of the torso, the middle, around the rib cage, or maybe all the way down into the abdomen. Notice your connection with ground again. And then if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open them, and then just slowly turn your head to one side. Just Just noticing what draws your attention over here. Maybe the shape and color of something. And then slowly turn the head in the opposite direction. Noticing what draws your attention on this side. And then bring the gaze back to center. So what this practice does to help with that anxiety response is, first of all, when you're in a fight or flight, your brain is not paying attention to what the ground feels like underneath you. So as soon as you start to get curious about that sensation, it's going to bring that sympathetic nervous system activation or that fight or flight response down just a little, enough that you can maybe regain more control of your prefrontal cortex, that logic and reasoning part of your brain. When you start to pay attention to your breath, usually, not always, but usually, it will start to slow down. That deep belly breathing, all the way down into the belly, then the ribs and the upper torso, especially with a hold at the top, just a brief hold, and the key is that longer exhale. It's actually scientifically proven to calm that fight or flight response down even more. That's because, and it was published in Neuroscience Today, you can actually modulate not just your nervous system states, but your brain waves using your breath. So when you slow it down, that has a calming effect. And again, you get more access to your prefrontal cortex. And then slowly looking around, getting curious about your environment. We don't have the luxury of being curious when we're trying to face or escape a threat. So if you bring that curiosity in and begin to recognize what is actually in your environment, because when you're having a fight or flight response, you're responding to a threat, or at least a perceived threat. So when you look around and there's no threat in your environment, that tells your brain that it can relax. Your nervous system can bring that response down. Apply that vagal brake, right? That slows your heart rate down, so that then you can kind of get on with your day. It takes practice. I recommend that you do the long practice. Shoot for once a day. Ideally 3 to 5 times a week, whenever is convenient for you. What that does, if you practice it regularly, is it strengthens the neurological pathway so that it can become a habit. And then you have an alternate choice. So when you really need it, when you are having an anxiety attack and you recognize it, it's easier to default to ground, breathe, look around, and calm that response down than to launch into a full anxiety attack. The quick version of this, if you are in a class or at work or in whatever setting you're in where you can't spend 5 or 6 minutes doing a mindfulness practice, is simply notice the ground underneath you. Maybe press down into it just momentarily, just to get that feedback. Notice your breath. If it's accessible, maybe usually it takes me about 3 of those deep belly breaths with a hold at the top and the longer exhale. Maybe 3 to 5 to feel a shift in your body where that response starts to calm down. Usually I feel my muscles start to relax. So 3 to 5 of those deep belly breaths. And then it doesn't have to be a really big, pronounced look around, but just kind of looking around your environment for a moment, getting curious about it. It can literally be a 1-minute practice. And that's it. Hopefully that helps. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions.